Welcome to this week's Kindness Cafe podcast. Grab a cup of coffee, tea, or your favorite snack, relax, and join us for another uplifting story. I am Seema Raj, your host. Today, we're going to address a huge problem in America and locally in Maryland: food insecurity. Recent data shows that more than 35 million Americans live in households that struggle against hunger. That means that 1 in 10 households are not getting enough food to eat. And COVID made those numbers hit a record high, increasing it to 42 million people, 13 million of them being kids. It's really, really sad. And in Maryland alone, 1 in 9 people are going hungry. And while there are many programs like Feeding the America Network that provides food for the needy, it is so heartwarming to me to see many local citizens who have made it their personal mission to help provide food for these people. That is exactly what our two guests are doing today. Let's meet Carla Ross and Mike Wilder. Hey, Carla and Mike, thank you so much for joining us on Kindness Cafe today. I'm so happy that you guys are here. First of all, can you guys both tell us a little bit about your profession? And Mike, I'll have you go first.
Okay, thank you so much, Seema, for having both of us on this wonderful call. Well, first of all, I'm an IT technician at the U.S. Census Bureau that's in Suitland, Maryland, and I've been doing that for a little bit over 6 years now, just about 6.5 years. I do Tier 2 support work, which pretty much means that when there's a technical problem that the Tier 1 or the first level technician isn't able to resolve, they escalate that issue to the Tier 2 help desk, which is a part of the team that I'm on. And we do in-person support despite COVID-19, and then we also do remote support for teleworking, and I've been teleworking since COVID-19 began, early of 2020 last year. But I'm also a IT, as well as a fitness coach, alongside being an IT technician. I've been doing that for a little bit over 4 years now, where I support people with their personal fitness goals, whether it's to lose weight, put on some muscle, things of that nature. And I put together customized nutrition plans, help them with their eating habits, and also share different workouts that they could do in person with me or they can do at home safely.
That is wonderful. So your journey really is health oriented, whether it's helping feed the homeless or helping other people lose weight and having a healthy lifestyle. That's wonderful. Thank you, Mike. And what about Carla? Can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. Hi, Seema. Thank you so much for having me on Kindness Cafe. And thanks, Mike, too. I am an Army veteran and a master esthetician. And what I focus and concentrate on is providing customized facials and a hair removal service that is natural alternative to shaving and waxing called sugaring. And so I've been doing that for about 15 years now.
Wonderful. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you. I know your kindness journey started at the young age of 11, where you were so impressionable, and I know your mom was your role model. What did you see her doing, and how did that impact you at such a young age?
Yes, thank you so much for that question, and it takes me back 22 years to be exact. I'm 33 years young today, but again, starting at 11, I watched my mom being very active in church growing up. And the one ministry that really stuck out the most was called the Feed the Hungry ministry. And she introduced me to the church growing up along with this ministry, unbeknownst to me that this was the ministry that really tugged on my spirit and into my heart and said, this is where I belong and this is where I should be serving in my church community. Basically, we serve the people within the D.C. area as well as the Maryland area, locations like Riverdale, Maryland, and also Marvin Gaye Park in Washington, D.C. There are about 4 to about 5 locations where we get out of a van and we pack 200 to 300 lunches prior to leaving the church location. We provide tracts, we provide biblical scripture, and we also pray for those that are in need of prayer. And those that we serve could be anyone from a young single mother to a couple of grandparents that have 6 or 7 grandchildren. And we make sure that they have all that they need before we part ways so that they can feed their grandchildren in the process of us serving them. And we know that if things were to change slightly in our lives, if fate was to shift a little bit to the left or a little bit more to the right, we too could have been those homeless individuals. So being blessed the way we are, my mother and I, never having to worry about where our next meal is going to be, refrigerators being full, stomachs being full as well, we make it our priority to serve the community every Saturday, or as many Saturdays as we can, to serve for a few hours and then come back home. But it's been an absolute privilege to do that, even during COVID-19, where we're still keeping people safe. And we even provide care packages with masks, hand sanitizer, and things like that to go along with the lunch that we provide. It's been really, really beautiful.
That's just so wonderful. And sometimes we forget individually how blessed we are. And so for us to be able to, pass this along to others, it's such a good feeling inside. And what about you, Carla? I know you had a very, very big turning point in your life as well. What influenced you to start your journey?
Yes, well, FEMA, like Mike, I've actually been in the volunteer capacity at a young age, even volunteering at schools. But in 2014 is when I really focused my efforts on being in outreach and in a giving capacity. That year in March, I left my corporate job and husband, and 5 months later, I lost my mother and grandparents altogether in a house fire. And so while that was such a major transformational year for me, there were points where I didn't feel that I didn't know what to do or give. While I was still maintaining my life and a very brilliant, at the time, 9-year-old, I knew that there was something that I needed to do and have the capacity to do. Otherwise, I would just wither away. And so I actually, in my head, asked what would my mom do, and she would give. And so essentially, I just really randomly, and I never say really randomly, but came across a page on Facebook, a friend of ours, and he had mentioned that they needed help in giving to the homeless on Sundays in Georgetown. And this was every Sunday. And I started to come down a few times and just to, lend a hand. And then it expanded to giving in a more capacity of donating every week, which I do faithfully. Even if I am not able to make it, I still make sure that I donate in some level of capacity. My business is called Carla Sugar. So for a while, I've been in charge of the sweets. And what I found is that my mom was also really funny and she was really sweet. But she also ruled with an iron fist. And that's probably what got me through the Army. But long story short, when people are out on the streets, a lot of times people will give them the last of or the less of or the thing that they don't want. And most times people forget that the sweetness in life should be had by all. And even if that is something, through something that, you know, um, is temporary, I would also think scientifically that dopamine helps you to a degree, especially when you've been in a depressive state like that. So I continue to do this effort. It's been quite some time now, and I wouldn't change it for the world because every time I give, it helps me to understand that I have, and not just have in a physical sense, like in my being, I have something to share, even if it's just my smile or my presence. So a lot of times people on the streets don't talk to anyone or no one talks to them. So no matter how down I've gotten, I recognize I have something to offer, and I'm grateful that I could be in that space, and that because I don't look like what I've been through, I could share that love and that gift of sharing with someone else.
Wow, that is just amazing. First of all, let me just say I'm so so sorry for your loss. I can't even imagine. But what I can say is, having talked to you, the three people that you lost must have really really given you a wonderful foundation that you are carrying on their legacy today, and to continue doing that and being a role model for your daughter. Hats off to you. Thank you so much for doing that. I just don't even know what to say. That's amazing. And I know, Carla, you have some long term goals besides what you're doing today with your business, right? Can you tell us about that, what you want to provide for women?
Absolutely. And not just women. I would say I feel like men are becoming a little bit more spa savvy, which is a good thing. But what, we like soft skin too. But, I want, what I'd like to provide, SEMA, is just a mobile spa. So I'm 5-star, 5 diamond trained. And I've taken my ability to be a topographic engineer in the military at 19 to make a map and use the skin and view the skin as a map. And so I've developed a love for facials, but I've noticed that me being mobile is more beneficial, especially during this time after and during COVID, that people are more confined to their homes and people want more conveniences, but it also reaches my span of giving more. So what I want to do is utilize a mobile spa and to also outreach and give some of my services away to women and men who feel they need to have that service or have never had that service before, and they had issues, you know, not being able to, care for themselves, or they're having to apply for a new job, and I can do the best I can to help them put their best face forward. So that's what I'm going to do, put Carla Sugar on the road.
Well, you know what? I'm sure you're going to have long, long lines. Good luck to you. I wish you the best in that journey. And I know, Mike, like you mentioned earlier in this podcast, you have helped so many people lose weight, get on a good health diet, and you've done it yourself. How does that feel to see those results and someone that you've guided get those results? It must be such a good feeling.
Oh, I can definitely say it's a very, very priceless feeling. And I remember looking back at myself in the mirror about 4 years ago, saying, "Is this how I really look in my late 20s? Do I really feel the way I should?" And the answer to both questions were no. And remember having a three-piece suit, having to hold my breath the entire time when people saw me, so that way the few buttons in the front of my blazer would not pop off and injure someone, which is a slight joke, but at the same time, it was a reality for me
Yes.
because I would suddenly purchase clothing that were a size or two extra large just to hide my personal imperfections, or at least what I visualize as physical imperfections. Just knowing that I could be a lot better off than where I was. And just trying different programs and different weight loss quickly schemes and things of that nature where it either one didn't work or two it made me sick to where I had to call my primary doctor and have the case where my doctor said you need to leave these over the counter things you find in the store alone. But then a friend of mine got me introduced to a customized nutrition plan that she started with me on, where she lost 35 pounds of baby weight, and her daughter today is 7 years old. So she was able to keep that baby weight off all this time. It's been about 5 years for her and her journey. I said, listen, if you can help me lose my first 20 pounds, I would be ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
So she helped me lose the 20 pounds. And as of this month, I've reached my new goal of 70 pounds down.
Oh my
Body
gosh.
fat. And
Congratulations.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's just so profound because I'm now able to help someone else with a similar case. It may not be 70 pounds. It could be a good 10 pounds. It could be adding on some muscle because they may look at themselves as underweight and they want to put on some lean muscle. It doesn't matter what the goal is. It's knowing that I have the tools and the experience equipped to equip somebody else for the same thing. And it's not just about how you look, but also how you feel. It's a confidence builder. It will escalate your confidence when you see yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I've really come a long way. And the hard work does pay off, and it's about being consistent. So I've been held accountable. I've been able to hold other people accountable with their goals and not to stray off that straight and narrow path. And it can be challenging, but as I say, with every challenge comes that new result and that new milestone in your life, whether it's weight loss, whether it's that job interview that you're nervous about, whether it's taking a new leap from a previous job into a new one, or just future endeavors, period. And it really goes down to just life altogether. It's a challenge that needs to be faced, but when you overcome it, it makes you better. And I'm privileged to do that type of service for other people in my community, and also people online as well that may not be in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, and I'm sure, especially during COVID, I've noticed that either people got really skinny or they gained weight. So you could go one way or the other.
Yes.
Some people just exercised all the time and some people just ate. So I'm sure, how can both of you just very quickly, if they want to contact you, Mike, how do they get in touch with you real quick? Like if they're,
Well, to get in contact, oh
yeah,
yes, well, to get in contact with me, I could provide my personal cell phone number
okay, go ahead.
and as well. So my personal cell phone number will be 240-899-7060. Again, that's 240-899-7060. Of course, my first name is Michael. Last name is Wilder, Wilder, where I can be found on Facebook and also use Instagram as well. So my Instagram plug would be Mike, Mike, Fit, FIT, underscore, and my last name Wilder. So Mike Fit underscore Wilder will be my Instagram, where people can have a visual of what I provide and the different workouts that I do. And the social media platforms is a way where I can reach out to more people
Okay.
outside of my local community and really motivate them to put their foot on the gas, if not, never to take it off the gas.
Yeah. And remember, if you're getting all these unknown calls, pick them up because it could be somebody who needs your services. So,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
what about
Thank
you,
you.
Carla? What is the best way to get in touch with you?
And thank you again, Seema, for having me on Kindness Cafe. I appreciate it. The best way to reach me is I have a website, and it is Carla, CarlaSSUGAR. That's Carla's Sugar. I say Carla's Sugar because I'm possessive of my own sugar. And I can be found on IG, Twitter, Facebook, under the same Carla's Sugar. And so, but also, too, there's a contact form on my website. And so, if there are any questions concerning sugaring, if you're not sure about a service, or if you have questions about wanting an event, and I also do late night servicing as well. And I also travel, and so thus far I've already been to Chicago. So I'm ready to accommodate as best as possible. So hit me up on the contact form as well. And thanks again, Seema.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It is so enlightening to see citizens like you going beyond the call of duty. Thank you for all that you do, and may you continue to do this. And I hope your guys' phone rings off the hook. I hope people add you. I really do wish you all the best in your business as well. And with that, we want to thank all of our listeners for joining us today. And I request you to give us your feedback on our podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Next time, you'll meet another unique guest and hear their inspiring story. So until next time, stay safe, healthy, and remember, living is giving.